Our seats. We're about to start.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're ready to begin. My name is Dina Abul-Futuh. I'm Vice President of Communications and Marketing. Welcome to the first campus conversation of the spring semester. Wonderful to see you all here. As is customary, so we have joining us, of course, President Ahmad Dallal and Provost Ehab Abdurrahman, and many of our senior leaders are also in the room available to take your questions. So what we will do is we'll start with brief updates from the Provost and President, and maybe a couple of other updates, and then we want to devote as much time as we can to responding to your questions. So let me begin with Dr. Dallal, if you'd like to give us some updates.
Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Hope the semester is going well for you, despite everything that's happening around us in the world. I will talk about three things, and of course, I'll be happy to answer additional questions as needed. Just want to give you a very brief update on the last Board of Trustees meeting that happened last week. It was last week, right? And a few updates about Campus 26. We are in the process, the construction process, and last but not least, the stop order instructions we received for federal funded grant programs and the impact of that on our multiple constituencies and our initial sort of response to this major challenge for our operations. We're still in the process of assessing. There are still many things which are not clear on that front. So let me start with the first one. The board, as you know, was here. We had a good visit by the Board of Trustees. We started the discussions of the board in a presentation of the future of education, the quality of education report. The quality of education report, the Provost will tell you more about it, is a work that took a year and a half by lead members of our community from multiple sectors, very serious, very thoughtful, which identified both things that we're doing well that we need to continue to work on, other things that need to be the center of focus as we move forward, as well as issues of perception and how to address issues of perception. So there is perception and reality, and the report very ably addresses both and suggests a course forward. Again, the Provost can tell you more about the report and about the outcomes and result of the report. What I want to say is that I want to commend the task force that worked on this report, and they drew on multiple reports that were created throughout the years. They had numerous surveys and focus groups. They worked with multiple constituencies, and they were extremely thoughtful in thinking about the most important issue for us, which is the quality of education that we offer. A great report with some very good, compelling recommendations and findings to address both the issues that we need to focus on, as well as how to begin to think about handling the perception issues. This was the beginning of the Board of Trustees. We had meetings where we discussed various financial issues. A decision was made about the tuition level and the financial support and the enrollment numbers and so on as we move forward, because we need these decisions at this time of the year so that we could start enrolling students, sending admissions. So a decision was made on that. We gave updates about financial issues related to Campus 26. All of this was decided prior to the board meeting in serious, intensive meetings of the Finance Committee and the Land Development Committee and so on. So we only gave updates. There were no decisions. The decisions were already made. I'll tell you about those in a minute. We talked, of course, naturally about the impact of the suspension, the freeze order on the grant, on the federal grant funding programs, and the impact of that on our operations. Again, I'll come back to that in a minute. We had very, we also, we had a special session for campus development and the expansion process and where we are. We gave updates on that. We had a meeting to discuss advancement strategies. The story in advancement is really, has two sides and two contradictory sides. On the one hand, we have been more successful in fundraising than we've ever been in our history. In the course of 2 months almost, we had 2 big grants. One, of course, the naming of the Ansi Sawiri School of Business, and the other one is a grant that we announced on the spot by Trustee Bishoy Azmi, a 5 billion grant. Gift, sorry, gift, not grant. Grant is a problem. Grants are on my mind. A gift to support a student scholarship, to support Coptic studies and cultural studies at AUC, and a big gift to support to endow the research activity in the TriLab. The importance of these 2 grants, both the topics, the issues they focus on are extremely important, and we need to follow up, and we need to deliver, obviously, on all of these promises. But the importance is both are endowments that will strengthen our endowment. And this is absolutely essential for the long-term sustainability and financial health of the institution. Building an endowment, we rely on the endowment. As you know, our cost structure, there are liabilities in dollars. Our tuition income, which is what we depend on primarily for our finances, covers only something in the order of 60% of the cost of education. The rest comes from the return on endowment. It comes from gifts and grants and other activities that we're able to deliver. So building the endowment, the money itself is not spendable. There are people who are saying, oh, well, what is the problem? The grant programs were suspended, but you just received X amount of money from the Sawiris family and so on. This is not the endowment. It's an endowment which sits in perpetuity. The return on the endowment supports the annual finances of the institution. And we really need to grow the endowment. Ultimately, we need to double the endowment if we can. And the more we grow it, the more financial security we have. You're all seeing the flux and the challenges that we're facing on the financial front, the major changes. We're living in a very, very rapidly changing world with lots of challenges, and endowments are essential for the financial health and future of the institution. So, on the one hand, we were able to secure 2 very important grants that support the financial health of the institution. Also, on the positive side, the naming of the Ansi Sawiri School of Business is a major vote of confidence in the institution and its capability, but by arguably the most important business family in the country, or one of the most important business. I don't want to offend anyone. There are several important business families in the country, but this is one of the most, and it's an amazing vote of confidence. Also, the gift by our trustee, by Bishoy, supporting. The normal, it's not the first time that he gives to support scholarship. His interest in Coptic studies is limited, but the support for one of the key projects that we're undertaking, the TriLab, is also a vote of confidence and an initiative that's emanating from our board, which is also very important. So these gifts underscore the importance of what we're doing and the fact that we're making an impact in mobilizing support for the academic activities at the university. On the other hand, the financial situation remains unstable. We have the USAID, the federal grants suspension freeze. It underscores the volatility and the types of problems that we face. The regional situation is very, very, it's above our heads. We're all trying to get our heads together and waiting to see what the outcome of the regional situation is going to be. Devaluation is not off the table. I hope we're safe for now, but there are still financial challenges that the country is facing and so on. So there are circumstantial financial challenges that we will have to deal with just as anyone else in the country would have to deal with. And in fact, at this point, anyone globally would have to deal with. And on the one hand, as I said, we're doing extremely well in fundraising, in mobilizing support, in getting votes of confidence in the work that we're doing. But on the other hand, there are very serious challenges that we need to encounter and work on. So we're happy on one side, but we're very concerned and worried about what's happening on the other side. I'll come back to the grants in a minute. Is that okay? The campus expansion, we're in the last stages of finalizing. We've chosen the contractor through a process which was very, very difficult, very rigorous. A choice, we had an open bidding process. We had very strong competitors. Part of the reason the process was difficult is that we really had 3 finalists, very strong finalists, and it wasn't easy. We did our homework, we analyzed their technical qualifications, we analyzed the finances and so on and so forth, and we made a choice, and we're now trying to conclude, hopefully today, I hope today, trying to conclude, finalize the contract, sign it so that we could start the construction. You're all seeing the piles of sand on the site. We're doing the rough grading, and now we want to start with the construction. Suffice it to say on this front that we're making progress. There is a huge amount of work that was done by the internal steering committee, the land development steering committee, by the trustee land development committee and facilities committee, and then we took the outcomes and results to the finance committee, and then we took the results to the executive committee and finally reported on that to the full board last week. So there is a huge amount of work that we've done. And until we're done with these projects, there will always be a huge amount of work. This is going to take a chunk of our daily work. We have to work on it. We have to deliver on it. It's not going to be easy. Construction is not easy. You deal with, for those of you who know the construction business would know what I'm talking about. Construction is never easy. You have to deal with foremen and construction companies and whatever. But this is all, we shouldn't forget that this is because we're doing well, we're moving. Now, as we move, there will be challenges. There will be daily challenges, and they will be with us until we finish the construction in at least the landmark stage in August 26. Again, I'll be happy to answer additional questions on this or other. Let me talk a little bit about the stop work order that we received with regard to federal grants. The biggest, of course, is the USAID set of grants. The first thing that I want to say, when you lose something or when you're about to lose something, we don't know if we lost everything or some of the stuff, or if it's going to be a total loss. We don't know if we'll be able to recover some of that. But when you lose something, you appreciate its value. We knew that what we have. We knew that these are transformative grants that we've been able to secure at a level that we haven't done before in our history. And as a result, we were able to deliver. We've delivered some of these programs, to deliver transformative programs at the national level. These grants, by and large, more than anything else, some of these grants are internal. They support our research activity. Some of them result in enrolling some of the students, fully funded students, qualified, fully funded students who otherwise don't have the resources. But the most important thing about all of these programs and the majority of these programs is that we were able to take the best of AUC and project it outwards, serve the country, serve the region, and be really a beacon of intellectual light at the regional level. Which, of course, means 2 things. First of all, it means that we've done extremely well by being able to secure these grants. The employment centers, the Pioneers program, which is a partnership with 12 national universities to raise, to educate students and faculty and you name it, and professionals. in issues related to sustainability and IT, and the various types of programs that are essential for the country. And the third mega project is the partnership project with the Ministry of Higher Education to set the standards for transforming the quality of higher education in Egypt. These are amazing, and there are other projects. The Center for Excellence for Climate Education in Africa. These are amazing projects, and the fact that we were able to successfully secure these projects, we were the only recipient of USAID funding in higher education in the last couple of years. No one else. Everything is done through AUC because of the quality, because of the ability of what we can do to serve our country and our region. Now, this the flip side of this coin is that these are amazing projects, and now they're frozen, and there is a very good chance that many of these projects will be suspended. So that's a big loss. That's a big setback. I will not talk about the details. I mean, we are trying to get our head around the full details because there are many unfolding issues. And by the way, these projects are very important for us. They're very important for Egypt. But in the larger scheme of things, we are a small speck in a global struggle. And really, we're not major factors in this global struggle. So we're trying to minimize the damage as much as we can. We're trying to do the right thing, to the extent that we can, but there is a limit to what we can do. The first challenge that we faced is the challenge of the continuing students who are funded by these programs, and their funding stopped. As you know, we have 200 students on various federal-funded programs. We have currently 200, round figure, but exactly 200 students who were already studying at AUC. We made the decision to fund their education for the spring semester as we wait and see how things will unfold beyond the spring semester. This is in line with our commitment, with the commitment that we've made during the devaluation, the various cycles of devaluation, the last few difficult years, the commitment that we've made that no student would have to leave the university for inability to pay. I hope we'll be able to live up to this commitment as we move forward. So the first challenge for us was supporting these students and mobilizing the funding, at least for supporting in the spring, as we assess and figure out what we're going to do beyond that. The second challenge, there are 113 employees who are employed on grant money to serve these specific programs that are funded. And when the funded was suspended, of course, which is part of the contractual agreement that the university has with them, their funding ended. If the programs are resumed, then they will be able to resume their education. But if the programs are not resumed, they will not. There will be no job. The jobs they were hired to perform would have disappeared. Again, what we did, we intervened. We supported this cohort with our own funding for the next 3 months as we wait for the results. Unfortunately, if the programs are suspended permanently, we will not be able to suspend. We're trying to see if there are other things that we could do to help these employees, members of our community, as we move forward. So this was the immediate challenge. But again, the bigger challenge is that these are transformative programs that enabled AUC to perform, to serve the nation at a level which is really superb and unprecedented. And the suspension and the possibility of the ending of these programs means that this ability to serve would have been compromised. We're still committed to serve, and we will always find ways to serve our country. There are other programs that don't depend on grant money or gift money that we are delivering that are of tremendous impact at the national level and beyond. And we will continue to, this will always be a central pillar of our strategic priorities. Serving our communities, serving our society will always be at the, but there is no doubt that the suspension and potential end of this program will have an immediate impact on us. There are also operational There is operational fallout from the fact that that these programs will be suspended. There are fully funded students who will no longer be funded, so the revenue from their tuition will no longer be there. There are operational impacts of this suspension. Just keep in mind, I remind you, that the very fact that the loss is at this level is evidence to the fact that we had amazing programs that we were delivering, number one. Number two, we will always be committed to serving. If we face a setback, and the setback has nothing to do with us, the setback is imposed on us from the outside, we will find other ways to continue to serve as we move forward. This university has always served its society and the nation and the region, and it will always continue to do this as we move forward. So this is it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Provost Ahmad Dallal.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being with us today. I have also 3 updates, not the same 3 updates as the president mentioned in a minute ago. One, I will talk about a new program, online program that we just launched a couple of weeks ago. And I will talk also about the library terrace that you have seen and witnessed, and our accreditation by the Middle States. And if there is time, I will touch on the quality of education report as well. So 2 weeks ago, we launched a new program. It's named Author. And it's actually, Author stands for EUC's Teacher Hub for Advancement and Reflection. The purpose of that program is to provide training courses for all public school teachers in Egypt in Arabic language. It's a fully online, self-paced, and for free program that EUC is offering to help the education in Egypt at large. And we will continue putting, currently there are 4 courses on that hub, and we will continue to put more courses on the hub to hopefully train all teachers in Egypt. As you may know, there is 1.5 million teachers in Egypt. As of a week ago, when I checked how many teachers registered on the hub, there is 1,000 teachers already registered and taking the courses in the hub. We hope that one day we will reach out to the 1.5 million teachers so we can really contribute to enhancement of the education system in Egypt. The second update is on the library terrace. That's one of the projects actually that came from the first quality of education report that was actually launched and published in 2017-2018, and it was mainly to enhance the quality of teaching at EUC and the quality of the learning spaces at EUC. And learning spaces does not mean only classrooms. It's everywhere else in the university. We consider this as a learning space. As you know, students is not learning only inside the classroom. Most of the learning actually happens outside the classroom. So the library terrace, we just launched also during the board visit, and it's now open. Please go and visit and enjoy it. The plan was actually to go all the way, first floor of the library, to enhance that in the summer. That was going to be funded by one of the ASHA, USAID funding. We now are studying how will the stop work order affect that project. And we will be, in a week or 2, we will convene again after getting all the needed information to see if we can continue with that project and continue enhancing the first floor of the library, or we will wait until the funding comes back from ASHA. So we will keep you updated on that. As you also may know, EUC is accredited by the Middle States Accreditation Agency in the United States. And that accreditation is very important to us because it provides mobility for our students everywhere in the world. So that means that our university is recognized by all universities in the United States. So if a student wants to transfer to the United States or to take courses to go for a semester abroad in the United States, that he or she can really, their degree here is recognized also in the United States. So we started actually the accreditation process. This is a 3-year process. Currently, we're working on the self-study report. We actually established a committee of 60 members of the community, faculty, staff, and the students. We'll add students to it as well. And we are supposed to be visited by the Middle States in spring 2027. Currently, we have completed the self-study design document and we shared it with the Middle States. They are looking at it. This is just the design of the self-study report that we need to submit to the Middle States. They are looking at the design and they will come back to us if they have any comments. There will be several opportunities for the community to be involved in the Middle States. The whole university should be involved in that re-accreditation effort. Also, we have the Middle States Vice President Liaison, Dr. Ryan Hartnett, will conduct a virtual visit on March 4 and 5 of this year. As part of this, he will have an open forum with the community as well. And he will meet the president, the provost, the committee, members of the community, members of the board of trustees. And this is all part of the process of the Middle States accreditation. I truly believe also that we're going to establish a website specifically for that re-accreditation, where all the information will be shared with the community once we have an update to the community. On the quality of education report, in 2017, in a board meeting, we received a comment that said the quality of education at EUC is declining. And at that moment, I asked the question, what is the quality of education? How can we define the quality of education? So in 2017, 2018, we formed a committee chaired by Dr. Aziz Al-Lozi to define the quality of education at EUC. What does it mean for us? And start actually working on enhancing what we defined as a quality of education at EUC. At that time, the definition was the quality of teaching, and we took that with the general definition of quality of teaching, which is the faculty, the pedagogies, the environment, the classroom, inside the classroom, outside the classroom, all the learning spaces. And we had a report. Dr. Aziz Al-Lozi at that time was the chair of that committee. So the report actually we published on our website, and it's still on our website, and we have also an action plan to enhance what we defined at that time by the quality of education at EUC, and I truly believe that we succeeded during that to achieve a lot at EUC. All of our classroom has changed since then. You have seen the interactive classrooms on the plaza level. You've seen them. If you did not go and visit them, please try and visit them and attend one of the classes there. They're really amazing. They really transformed the teaching of many of our faculty. So that which actually contributed to the enhancement of teaching at EUC. Does that mean that we're satisfied with the quality of education at EUC? That's the wrong question. We should never be satisfied by the quality of anything we do at EUC. We should always work on day in and day out to enhance the quality of what we do at EUC, including what we define as a quality of education. Recently, we established a committee almost a year and a half ago, chaired by Dr. Huda Mustafa, and many members of the community are in. I don't want to miss names, so I'm not going to mention other names other than Dr. Huda Mustafa, but there are many members of the community are part of that committee. They actually looked at lots of data from the university, NESI survey, all the review of our academic programs, and many in surveys and reports that we had in the university in the last few years, and they also conducted focus groups, surveys, their own surveys, and met with the faculty, students, parents, alumni, and they gave us a set of recommendations to enhance the quality of education with a new definition of the quality of education. The definition is actually, I would say, more sophisticated than just the quality of teaching. So it includes a lot of action items that we will start working on. We presented that quality of education report to the board. We got their feedback during that board meeting. And we have also had a design thinking workshop of 60 of our community to design to us an action plan, which they did, and now we have an action plan on to how to enhance the quality of education. This semester, we will be setting exact goals for each action item and KPIs. Once we do that, we will be starting to improve what the committee told us that we need to improve in the quality of education. And so that, and we'll have a dedicated also website for the community so we can actually follow on the progress of the enhancement of quality of education, quality of experience at EUC. And I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Provost Abdulrahman. So I'm just on one other update before I open the floor to questions. So as many of you may know, HR recently launched a staff development program. So I'm going to ask our head of HR, Sarah Rafat, to please give us, oh, there you go.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. As Dina just mentioned in previous campus conversations, we touched based on our plan for professional development this academic year, mainly the managerial program, supervisory program, and customer service. We started conducting these programs in Tahrir second week of January. We concluded the program for the managerial skills and one supervisory skills, and tomorrow we will conclude the first one for customer service. As you are aware, these programs are pilot programs, and feedback and collecting feedback from participants and their managers and supervisors is really important. We want these programs to be having an impact and transforming the way we deliver services and excellence. So I highly appreciate that whoever attended these programs, their managers and supervisors to provide us with the feedback. Up till now, the main feedback I'm receiving is that the participants are feeling positive because they interact from different departments in different areas in the university. And this is actually important, but we need to measure the real impact of the program content on the way they are performing their work. So I'm open for feedback and open for questions if you have.
Thank you, Sarah. So I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for any questions from the audience, and if you would please kind of introduce yourself and feel free. Anybody? Okay, go ahead. Yes, of course.
To the president. So because I keep hearing that question over and over, so I'm going to ask the president so he can explain to us. Oh, sure, I can answer it too. So the president has been talking about the financial difficulties that we are facing because of the stop work order and other issues related to the economy of the country. At the same time, the university is launching a big project to build. And we're going to spend money on building. So is there a contradiction there in the action of the university? I'm happy to answer, but...
No, the short answer is there is no contradiction. First of all, as you know, as we've discussed endlessly over the last 3 years, the decision to build follows, of course, a strategic set of priorities that we've identified, but it's also as something we needed to do to preserve the assets of the university, the physical assets, the land that the university has. It's a requirement of the government. We had a year and a half of discussions and conversations with the government before we reached an agreement, and disagreement. But luckily, in the process, we've identified strategic priorities, things that we really need to work on. The funding of this project comes from multiple sources. It doesn't come from the operating budget. The operating budget is funded by tuition revenue, by return on endowment, by a variety of other, by gifts that we're able to mobilize and grants and so on that we're able to mobilize during the year. But these projects are funded through fundraising. They're funded through the Capital Reserve Fund, which is a fund dedicated for the land and its preservation and safeguarding, and through other mechanisms. But it doesn't. These two things move in parallel. We don't use the operating funds to cover the what will become permanent assets and programs that we're able to deliver. While I'm speaking about the budget, since I joined AUC, there's been a series of financial crises that hit the government, that hit the country. Various cycles of devaluation and so on and so forth. And we've been struggling to address these challenges in an ethical way, in a principled way, in a way that reflects our care for our community, but in a way that will preserve the financial health of the institution. And I think we've done relatively well. No one would have been able to do perfectly well unless you're trading in the black market or something like this. But, all institutions suffered. I think we've managed to weather these crises extremely well. And we were poised, actually. We've promised that the board that we will present a forecast, a 3-year budget forecast, budget plan for the next 3 years, not just as we always do 1 year at a time, but, project. Now we have to go back to the drawing board. With the current changes in the funding and so on, we have to recalibrate. For one thing, there are 200 continuing students. There are 122 students who are supposed to start either this semester or next semester. That's a reduction of tuition funding of 300 students. That's a lot of money. That's not a small amount of money. Not to mention the cash flow of dollars, as I mentioned earlier. We have in our cost structure, we have commitments in dollars. We need to have income in dollars. Our tuition is collected by and large. The vast majority of the tuition is collected in EGP, although it's denominated against the dollar, but it's collected in EGP. You're not able to buy dollars nowadays. There was a time where we were able to buy dollars, convert from EGP to dollars. We're not able to do that. So the cash flow that we generated in dollars was helpful, at least not in adding to the total funds of the university, but in providing us with the dollar amounts that we need for this is something that was affected, of course. This is not the biggest of the issues. The operational part is another big part, and it'll have an impact on us. So now we have to go back to the drawing board and do the analysis, and keep in mind, things haven't settled yet. We don't know where things will settle. They don't look promising, and we need probably to come up with alternative solutions for the next phase of our operations. It doesn't seem that these particular sources will be available or will not be fully available. So we need to go back to the drawing board. So yes, we're juggling very challenging, any one of these things. The land issue would have been enough to deal with. Then the devaluation issue would have been enough to deal with. Then the regional challenge that we faced and we continue to face, of course, it's not over yet, would have been enough to deal with, to try to operate ethically and in a principled way in the context of this region and unfolding regional situation. Now, the freeze of the funding, and just to give you an idea, up till 2031, we had a total of grant funding, programs that are supported by federal funding. The total amount is in the order, between now and 2031, is in the order of $370 million. That's a lot of money. Most of this money is spent outside on national institutions or whatever, but it's part of the cycle, the operational cycle of the university, and it has an impact. And as I said, there are 322 students who are now no longer fully paying students who will not be paying. So there are challenges. We've managed to weather and deal with multiple challenges so far, and we will continue to work. We need to work collectively on figuring out what to do as we move forward. And we're not dealing with one, but we're juggling multiple demands and challenges, but we will figure it out.
No questions?
Hi.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question regarding يعني ممكن بس أشرح. Okay. يعني for the past hour you've mentioned the commitment that AUC made يعني financially to the students and serving the AUC community as a whole. But however, recently in several issues, the university, rather than finding a sustainable solution for many of the issues, they opted to adding a financial burden on the students. So for example, the cap and gown, rather than renting, it's purchasing. Other than that, currently a parking subscription is being discussed. Imposing a new parking subscription on the students and the staff and the AC community as a whole, rather than just finding a sustainable solution or a better solution rather than imposing a new subscription. يعني how is this in alignment with the promise that AUC makes that it serves the students and provides financial support and so on and so forth. However, what they're currently doing is imposing new financial burdens on the students and the staff as well, not just the students. Moreover, the committee that was made in order to discuss this new implementation of the parking subscription lacked student representation as a whole. There was not enough student representation in this committee, although the major stakeholder in the university is the students, not the staff, not the faculty, with all due respect to all the stakeholders. However, students are the main stakeholder in this university. I'd just like clarification towards this issue.
Thank you, Ahmed, for your question. Are we passing on burdens, financial burdens to the students? Let me correct one thing, Ahmed. I don't think there is something called major stakeholders of the university. University without the students is not a university. Students without faculty is not a university. Students without a staff is not a university. So there is no major stakeholders of the university. We all partner in the operation of this university, students, faculty, and staff. That's one. Two, if I remember correctly, when we moved to this campus, there was always parking subscription for faculty, students, and staff. And we stopped that during COVID or a little bit before COVID. And now we're looking at the parking situation again. You have all witnessed what's happening in the parking. That situation is not sustainable for the university. It's not good for the environment. So everyone comes with his or her own car. That's not really good for anyone on that planet. And we need to find a solution. One solution is we find public transportation. We have our buses and people can use the buses, but also look at it from that perspective. And I will ask Shireen to speak about that too. Then I will talk to the cap and gown. If you look at, if I ride the bus and I pay bus fees, but if I come with my own car, I don't pay any fee for parking. Does that encourage bus riders or discourage bus riders? Of course, it actually discourages bus riders because it's going to be cheaper for them to get into the EUC with their own car. Is this good for the environment? Absolutely not. So now we're studying different scenarios in order to be able to make sure that our limited parking slots are sufficient for our community. That does not mean that we're going to add more parking slots. It means that we need to look at who's coming to the campus and encourage a carpool, encourage the bus riders, and find a way to manage the parking situation, which is very unsafe now to our community. On the cap and gown, I will ask Jürgen later on to comment on it. But my own alma mater, where I got my PhD from, there was everyone purchased his or her own cap and gown. So that's nothing new. But I will also ask Jürgen to answer that after Shireen comments on the parking situation.
I mean, as the provost was talking, there has to be a system where if you're using the campus for parking, you would definitely need to buy or purchase a parking ticket or subscription. The fact that it's so low and it's been that low for many years, that £5 I mean, you and I are aware that nothing in town, you can't get anything for £5 today, not even a bottle of water for £5. So it is not in line with anything else, nor universities, nor out in the vicinity anywhere. But we're looking at a reasonable scenario where you subscribe, and therefore then the number, at least the demand and supply is somewhere around reasonable. And again, in principle, we want to encourage bus ridership. We've got 13 bus routes all across the day, better than any peer university around us in terms of the number of time slots of the routes. In terms of reach and timing, we are among the best, and we've done our benchmarking among all peer universities. With that, there are options other than coming with the car. And with the move out to New Cairo, many families have moved out. So every year now, there is a surge in terms of number of the demand on our parking spaces. So we need to do something about it, and we're looking at it holistically. We're looking at what the prices should be holistically. We're not done yet with the exercise. We're still working on it. And of course, we care about students as much as faculty and staff to have something reasonable in place. So we're not done yet, and I mean, part of as the provost said, we're all stakeholders. We're not gonna say, okay, students pay and we don't pay. We're all in the same boat together, and we will be done with the study soon, and we're gonna be, then the next step is we're going to be contacting vendors and suppliers to make sure that we get the technology needed to implement the stickers on the cars, RFID readers, the solutions that are out there in any community or gated communities all across town. So that's basically what we are doing in terms of parking.
Thank you, Shireen. Dean of Students.
Yes, thank you. So in regards to the cap and gown, and Ahmed, and we've had several conversations on this front already this semester. So really, I mean, it starts with, as the provost stated, the concept of purchasing your cap and gown is not a foreign concept. It's something that's very common across a lot of universities in the US, in Europe, and any place, and even in Asia that I've encountered. That is not to say that rental also did not exist. However, when we did an analysis looking at the amount of workload that a rental system entailed, 3 weekends on the front end, 3 weekends on the back end, in terms of demand of staff and everything, and if we actually try to, similar to what Shireen articulated about reflecting actual cost onto the students for all of this, for all that entailed, the difference between renting and buying was so minuscule that it wasn't worth setting up the infrastructure on both sides. You know, and so it was actually, in our interpretation, the best deal was to sell it to the students for starts. And as we've discussed, this is the year one of this, and we are hoping that as we fine-tune the system, that we are able to bring the cost down as we refine things. But that is also kind of the reality of where we're at right now.
Thank you. I think we're just about out of time. So thank you for coming. I don't know if there's any, we might have, is there, oh, we have, I guess we have, no? I think because we're out of time and we've given you a chance, but we'll be around in the room for another few minutes, and it looks like everyone knows you and you know us, so we're happy to answer questions once we close. But thank you to everyone for coming. Our next campus conversation is going to be on April 10th on the Tahrir campus as part of the Culture Fest. So we hope to see you there, and thank you again.